My name is Ajay. I am from Marwad University. I am studying in ICT department. Now I am talking about the topic is noiseless channel and noisy channel. Noiseless channels and noisy channels. Simplest protocol and stop and wait protocol are the flow control protocol in noiseless channels and stop and wait ARQ, go back and ARQ and selective repeat ARQ for the noisy channels. We will focusing on the stop and wait protocol. Let's start with what is stop and protocol. We know very well that the stop and wait protocol is a flow control protocol where flow control is one of the services of data link layer. The first point is the stop and wait protocol is a data link layer protocol for transmission of frames over noiseless channel and the need provides unidirectional data transmission with flow control facilities, but this protocol will not focus on any error control facilities. A unidirectional data transmission means either sending or receiving will take place at a time. Both sending and receiving will not happen at the same time. That is why this stop and wait protocol is referred as a unidirectional data transmission. Flow control protocol, and what is the idea behind the stop and wait protocol? The idea behind the stop and wait protocol is very straightforward. It is after sending one frame from the will not send any other frame and it waits for an acknowledgement before transmitting the next frame. Suppose if there is a sender, the sender will send the exactly one frame and the sender will not send any frame before receiving an acknowledgement. That the idea behind the stop and wait protocol. Let's see what are the primitives. The stop and wait protocol. Stop and wait protocol includes the sender side and the receiver side. There are simple rules for the sender side and there are very simple rules for the receiver side. The sender side rule number one is just send the one data packet at a time and that's it. And rule number two saying send the next packet for only after receiving acknowledgement from the previous. Stop and wait protocol is very simple. Just send one packet at a time. Don't send the next packet before receiving an acknowledgement. And what about the receiver side? Just receive and consume the data packet. Once the receiver receive the data packet and consumed saying the acknowledgement to the sender, after consuming the packet acknowledgement need to be sent, and is what is the flow control mechanism is. I hope you are clear with the flow control. Let's see it with an animation. Suppose if there is a sender and there is a receiver, and sender will send exactly one packet, and that packet is that packet data packet, and sender will not send any packet before receiving an acknowledgement. Now the receiver will send the acknowledgement for the data packet it has received. After received after of the acknowledgement, the sender will now send the next packet. Once the acknowledgement is received for the next packet, the sender will send the next packet, and this is the process of stop and wait protocol. The main advantage of stop and wait protocol is simplicity, but the main advantage is that we if it has 1000 packets, then all 1000 packets cannot be transmitted at the same time, so one by one it has to be sent. It has to wait for the acknowledgement before sending the next packet, so there are some problems. Wait protocol, we will see what are the problems associated with the stop and wait protocol. The problem number one is problems due to lost data. It suppose if the sender send the data and the data is lost, so what happened, the receiver will be waiting for a long period of time for the data, since the receiver has not received the data. In case of because the data is lost, will not send an acknowledgement, since that acknowledgement but not received by sender, it won't send the next packet. The first problem is problems due to lost data. Here the lost data sends wait for an acknowledgement for an infinite amount of time. Since the data is lost, there is no chance for the receiver to get data, so cannot send acknowledgement also. So here the sender is also waiting for infinite amount of time for the acknowledgement, and the receiver also waiting for an infinite amount of time for the data. So that's the first problem. Now let's see problem number two. Second problem is the problem due to lost acknowledgement. In this case, the sender has sent the data and receiver has sent that knowledge, but their acknowledgement is lost due to some problems in the network. So the what happens? The will be waiting for an infinite amount of time for the acknowledgement. There is no chance for the sender to receive that knowledge in loss. There is no chance for the sender to say the next packet, because the idea of stop and wait protocol is it won't send packet before receiving the acknowledgement previous button. So problem number 2 is the sender waiting for an infinite amount of time for the acknowledgement. The last problem of the stop and wait protocol is the problem due to delay acknowledgement or the delay data. It means the sender has sent the data and this is the time out in the sender side. So till the time out there is no chance for acknowledgement be received by the sender, but the receiver assessed acknowledgement and this acknowledgement is received by the sender very late, and 3 are chances for the sender to wrongly consider that is the acknowledgement of some other data packet. So problem is due to delay acknowledgement or delay data. After timed out on sender side, a delay acknowledgement might be wrongly considered as the some other data packets. Problem. Let's see all three problems together. Problem number 1, problems due to lost data. Problem number 2, due to lost acknowledgement. Problem number 3, problems due to delay acknowledgement or data. Exclusively focusing on the go back and ARQ. Before going to details of go back and ARQ, let's revisit the sliding window protocol. We know sliding window protocol is different from the traditional stop and wait protocol. In stop and wait protocol, one frame is sent at a time and sender will not send the next frame without receiving the acknowledgement for the previously sent frame, whereas in a sliding window protocol, group of frames, that is the multiple frames, can be sent at a time. The variation of sliding window protocols are go back in ARQ and selective repeat ARQ. And the topic of the day, go back and ARQ. Let's see what is go back and ARQ. Today's videos details manner in a go back and ARQ. What is in n this sender window size? Suppose if we say go back 3, then 3 is sender window size. It means 3 frames can be sent at a time before expecting an acknowledgement from the receiver. If it go back 5, then 5 frames are can be sent by the sender to receiver before expecting an acknowledgement. Shortly we are going to see an animation. At the time we will able to understand what is n and what is the significance of the, let's see the theoretically accepts of ARQ in though became ARQ. It is a concept of protocol pipelining, that is the sender and send multiple frames before receiving the acknowledgement for the first time. Suppose if we have 5 frames, and if the concept go back 3, the number 1, frame number 2, frame number 3 can be sent before expecting knowledge frame, and the frames are numbered in a sequential manner. We know the ANRQ going to send multiple frames, we need to distinguish one frame from another frame. So obviously we need some numbering approach. These numbers are called as sequence numbers. That is why the point which is mentioned there is the frames are numbered in sequential manner. The next point is the number of frames that can be sent depends upon the window size of the sender. No, if we know this n is the sender window size and the number of frames that can be sent, the n1, if that acknowledgement not received on time, if the acknowledgement frame is not received with agreed is received upon windows are retransmit. Suppose if we have sent frame number 5 and we did not get the acknowledgement for frame number 5, the current window is holding 3 frames and all 3 frames are retransmitted. Please understand, this is very important point in go back and ARQ. You and me seen animation, the point will be very clearly. You please make a note of this point. All frames in the current windows are retransmitted if the acknowledgement frame is not received in times. Let's see some more details about this. Go back in ARQ. The size of sending window determines the sequence number of outbound frames. If there are 10 frames, the sending window size is 2, then the sequence number will not be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Since we have 10 frames, we are just like that, numbering all frames 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. The sequence number of the frame is also decided by the sending window size, that is end of will see in example, then it would be clear. We know this senders window. For example, if the 4, that is here yn in phone, then sequence number will be between 0 and 3, that is from 0 to 3 the frames are numbered. How this is done? If the number is 4, it can be written as a power of 2. So 4 can be written as part 2, where this 2 means this is the sequence number bits. That is the binary bits of the number. Binary bit is 2. Then 00, 01, 10, 11. Its decimal equivalent is 0, 1, 2 and 3. And that is what mentioned here. If the sending window size is 4, that is 2 power 2, then it is 2 number of bits sequence number, that is decimal. There are 0, 1, 2 and 3. Suppose we have 10 frames, then this sequence number will be repeated for all frames, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1 and so on. And I hope you now understand what is a part to these. 2 is the number of bits, the sequence number. So the number of bits in the sequence number is 2. That is, the 2 is generated the binary sequence 00, 01, 0, 11. Its decimal equivalent to 00 means 0, 0, 1 is 1, 1, 0 is 2 and 1, 1 is 3, and we can reuse the sequence number as per our requirement. That is the number of friends. Let's see working of. Go back in here back animation. Then it we have sender and we have a receiver. And let's assume that there are 1 frames to be sent, and the frames are numbered as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Please note the sequence number. Actually, this is the sequence number of the frame, and the sequence number is decided by the window size. And better understanding, I have taken a running number, but actually here number is 2, then would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, and it's gone on. But for understanding purpose, I have taken a running serial number. Now what is the sender size? Let's take the center window size means 4 means can be sent by the sender expecting acknowledgement. The first name that the frame 0. Let's see now the sender is now sending framer 0. Now what is their current window? The current window only frame 0 will be there. Now what happened? The sender will send the next frame, because the sender can send a maximum of 4 frames. Before expecting acknowledgement 4 frames, you send the sender frame 1, frame 2 and frame 3. So 4 frames are sent by the sender, because the sender window size is 4. Now what is expected? The sender is expected to receive an acknowledgement for frame 0. Let's assume the receiver acknowledgement for frame 0 is technology, so that what you understand from. So frame 0 is sent and it has been successfully received by the receiver, because receiver has acknowledged from frame 0, and now will be done by the sender will not send next frame. What is the next frame? The buffer to frame. The frame number 4 is sent by. If you observe the window now slice, and you see the window is now sliding, because this is the frame which is sent and acknowledged. We need to not worry about this frame anymore. What is this? There are frames that were sent by the sender and still waiting for an acknowledgement. And what about this? Our frames are, they are not yet said the receiver will now acknowledged for frame number 1. Let's assume there is a event knowledge frame number 1. When sender does not send the next frame buffer, what is the next frame buffer? It's frame number 5. So sender will send the number 5 and the window now slice. Now let's assume the sender is not acknowledging framing number 2. Why? Because Either the frame is losting, that is the frame number is 2, lost or that knowledge meaning is lost. What happens the sender side is will wait for certain period of time. If acknowledge is not received, where what is the sender does not to retransmit, so acknowledged not received in time. So send X out, and what is the next frame to send in example it. Example it. Example it frame number 6, but if you observe frame number 2 is not acknowledged receiver, so sender understand either the frame 2 is missing, acknowledgement is missing, so sender is now going to, you just see it's going back to what is the starting frame in the current window. The current window is holding frame number 2, 3, 4, and 5. It is just for going back to which is the starting of the frame in the current window. I hope now you understand. It is going back to, so from 2 what are there in the current window, all the frames are retransmitted, so frame to frame 3 frame 4 and frame 5 are retransmitted. If you observed already, frame 4 and 5 was sent by the sender, but the receiver discussed these two frames. Why? Because it has not received frame number 2. It discussed all the frames that they are in the receiver buffer. The frame that was not received by the receiver was framed 2, because assumed the 2 is lost, so frames acknowledgement is sent by the receiver and there is no chance for the sender and receiver frame to acknowledge me. So what the sender going back to the starting of the window, it's frame to 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 and current window, and it's going to frame and starts retransmitting frame 2, 3, 4 and 5 already. Frame 4 and 5 are transmitting, but still the sender will retransmitting. All the frames are there current window. Currently are 2, 3, 4 and 5. In this case, the receiver will ignore frame 4 and 5. The working for back ARQ protocol. Thank you guys.